Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review, we're going to be looking at the Studio Series number 90 Voyager class Galvatron figure. So what we're going to do with this video then, we're going to unbox him live in a second, have a look at the entire contents of the packaging. We're then going to have a detailed look at him in both of his modes to help you decide how you want to display him. I'm going to do my very best to do a comparison with this and the original Galvatron Voyager class figure from the same movie because the only version I've got is sealed, unfortunately. So I'll do my best to do some comparisons with that. And of course, I'll grab some of my other Age of Extinction movie figures and we can see how he displays and looks with them. Now, before we cut him open, there's a couple of things I want to do. Well, first and foremost, just have a quick look at the box. We've got a lovely image of him there, I say in full robot mode. If we spin it round, we can see, of course, as I said, it's number 90. It's Studio Series and it's from the movie Age of Extinction. Windowless box. Lovely looking paint job there, as I say, with the silver that's really reflecting and looking great. And then on this side, a zoomed in image of, I suppose the torso and the head. Now, the other thing that I really need to do is thank a chap called Andy, whose YouTube name is Galvatron Reformatted, because he incredibly, very kind gesture, sent me this to review. So huge thank you to him for making this video possible. Right, let's cut this guy open then and have a look at him. So I'm pretty intrigued to see this. I've seen a few pictures of this on various forums, and I think he looks good. I mean, already you can tell that the paint applications are far superior than the very, I suppose, dull looking version there. Excuse the glare. He is all held in by some plastic ties. I presume that's obviously where his accessories are, and if we spin it around to the back, there's not that much. I expected there to be quite a bit of back kibble coming, which of course makes up the front of the cab, but obviously there isn't. And again, for those of you new to the channel, every time I do like a new unboxing and a review of a figure, it's literally my first impressions of it. I intentionally don't watch other people's reviews to be able to give you a more honest impression. So what I need to do now then is set him free from there and come right back to you with some first impressions. Okay, so I've set him free from the packaging, and I'm hoping that with my phone and the camera that's on it, I'm going to be able to do this guy some justice, because he is simply stunning. This is, I suppose, exactly why they're doing the Studio Series figures, just to update them amazingly. I mean, look at the detail on that head sculpt there. You've got the red eyes, you've got the blue running through it, you've got the moulding detail is simply stunning. It's very detailed. You've got the gold there in on the centre. The chest isn't too bad. Now, I always thought looking at these in the pictures that it just looked too big and square, but it's not too bad at all. The detail, again, all the pistons, everything going in and out is fantastic. That just continues all the way through this. Now, usually I don't spend too much time looking at the actual mould on these figures, but I think with this one, you've just got to, because you've got to appreciate how good it looks. As I said, I've literally just set him free, but what I've worked out already is I think it's better, and his legs were like this, but I think it's better if you just took this little tab behind there. It just tidies up that little bit more, I think. Again, hardly any gaps on the back. It's just great. Maybe there's some there with the blades, but they are supposed to be blades. Of course, they were used in that scene in the movie, but they perhaps could have been a bit bigger. But I'm loving it's like an electric metallic blue. It's weird, and again, I hope it's doing it some justice. So with regards to articulation, we've got tilting all the way around. It's sort of, I was going to say, does it go up and down? I think that's more transformation, in all honesty. Let's just put that back and spin it around. It's got a little bit, it has, yeah, it's got rocking up and down, shoulders all the way around, out to the side. You've got a bit of additional movement there if you want, but again, that looks like it's for transformation. You've got a swivel just under the shoulder. You've got a bicep flexion. In fact, it looks like you've got a double bicep flexion. No wrist swivel, actually, which is quite strange for a Voyager class figure. Well, I suppose they're making up for it there. There's obviously a waist swivel, hips, all the way out, oh wow, to the side. Yeah, there you go. I've never seen that happen before, but I suppose reassuring for yourself. Look how easy it was to click that back in. That's the good thing about these new figures now. if they do that, you can see that clearly just slots on. Anyway, articulation wise, there's a knee bend and rock, and there's also an ankle tilt and rock. And if things like that happen and you're new to this channel, I'll keep it in, because that's obviously my honest opinion of what's just happened. Again, detail wise, it's good. It all looks like it's tucked up all nice and snugly. And again, I think the thing for this guy in particular, and it's one of the main reasons why I wasn't a huge fan of the movie, is because obviously they had that thing called transformium, so they could pretty much, they didn't even transform. So I think it looks good. So that's enough for the first impressions. We're going to come back now, see him in his alternate mode, and see how he looks in that mode as well. Okay, we're back, and as you can see, he's in his alternate mode already. Quick apologies for no transformation process on this video. Couple of reasons. One is to keep the main length of the video down. And two is not to spoil it for anybody who doesn't want it spoiling for them. Basically, it's a new figure. Everybody loves a good, I suppose, relatively detailed transformation process, which is exactly what this is. It is a little complicated, but thoroughly satisfying. I've uploaded it separately if anybody wants to see it. And again, I don't want to ruin it for people who don't. Anyway, this is the alternate mode. It does look great. It is a licensed 2012 Freightliner Argosy. And apart from this, which I suppose it has to have, because again, this is that thing I was discussing before. With the transformation on the movie, it isn't a transformation. It's like a morph, which is, again, not to my taste, to be honest. But this is great. You know, all the wheels go round backwards and forwards. They're completely unrestricted. Nothing catches onto them. Again, the paintwork on here is brilliant. The little bits of blue make it look so much better. And it's tucked away, not too bad, to be honest. Everything is tucked away pretty neatly. With regards to scale, though, I've realised I've got no Age of Extinction figures apart from one out of the box, and the only one that I've got is Voyager class Drift, and I suppose the scale for that isn't too bad in honesty, because of course it is just the cab, and that is of course a helicopter. It doesn't look too bad. I think it looks scale wise okay, but with regards to the actual figure itself, I love it. I do think it's good. Robot mode is much better. This is okay, but I suppose it looks way better from that angle than it does for everything else. I'm just moving these out of the way. We've obviously got the two accessories. I'm going to show you more detail in the robot mode, but you can actually store these away. If we untab this here, we can hide the missile cluster in there, and that will tab. Sometimes it needs a bit of adjustment, let's be honest, because this should be lying flush over there like so. Oh, has that got it? Yep, there we go. And then the final part is the, of course, arm cannon, and then this will also as well, if I get this of the right orientation, it will slot. Now you can go either way actually, to be honest, but as you can see, that fits there nicely, and I think that way around it looks good inside there. So you can actually store all of the accessories in either mode, store and use any of the accessories in each of the mode, which is a good touch. But I can totally see why some people, and indeed the main reason why I got this, a huge thanks again for the generous donation of this, because the person brought two, as I say, to display, and he's chosen to keep this version in the alternate mode, because this alternate mode, it does look a little bit better. It does look a little bit more compact, and we haven't got this bit at the back. However, obviously the robot mode just looks like a great big shell former, which is exactly what it is. Anyway, I think that's covered all bases with regards to the alternate mode. We're going to come back for the final time in the robot mode with his accessories and a few more comparisons. Okay then, back for the final time with him in his robot mode. Main reason because this is the mode that I'm going to be choosing to display him in, because I do think it's far superior to the alternate one. So let's just move this box out of the way. Let's get the actual proper display. This is of course the battle scene from Hong Kong, and again, I've said this in most of the Studio Series figures. Fair play if you've got the space and the time, I suppose, to display all of your figures in these backdrops. I mean, they are good. Maybe if it's just your only figure or your favorite figure, then yes, you know, it looks good, and it's good, it's durable, and it's a good little touch. But for myself, this unfortunately is just going to be packed away into the box as well. Right, now we're going to see what he looks like with his accessories before we do some comparisons. So of course we've got the gun. The gun is fantastic. Look at the detailing on that. It's just a little too small, in all honesty. We've of course got the 5mm peg there where it'll slot in. And then for some reason, I don't know why, but this isn't in the instructions, and it seems really obvious to me. So you've got the cluster here of missiles, you've got a tab there, and then if you have a look on his forearm, he's got this cutout, which just seems to fit this in absolutely perfect. So I've no idea why it's not in the instructions. It just fits there, as you say, really, really well. And it looks, again, it looks good. Perhaps this could be a little bit bigger. I'm going to attempt to do the comparisons now, so quick apologies for this, because again, the only version that I do have is a sealed one. Now again, we can see instantaneously that the paint is much better on this newer one, and with the older one, from what I've seen in the pictures, you can already tell. I mean, look at the huge backpack that's on the back of this, and this is widely regarded as a shell former. What I do like, I think, a little bit more, even though we can't see it, is that this chest plate seems to come out a little bit, whereas with his, he is just nice and flat. But again, I expected it to be a lot bigger, maybe because it's the one like here I've been used to looking at. Obviously, I think this one's got the better alternate mode because everything's tucked away a little bit more, but again, it's really difficult for them to, I suppose, create a transformation process for a character that didn't have one. Not too bad. Let's just quickly readjust this again, and again, unfortunately, the rest of my, I've realized all my Age of Extinction figures are in fact sealed, so if I pop him there, you can see how much bigger he is compared to Stinger. There we go. I'm so sorry. That's an awful comparison, but obviously he's not out of the box yet. But he's much bigger, which is great. So what I'm going to do is I've got a couple of other movie figures from the previous movie, just to give you an idea of, I suppose, how much bigger he is. So there's, of course, a deluxe Roadbuster who looks like he's literally been in the wars, but it doesn't matter. It's just for height comparison. And indeed, we've got a Decepticon Thundercracker. So you can see that he's, yeah, definitely towering above him, which is exactly what we want. Right, I don't think there's much more to say. As I said, I think I've pretty much covered it. A huge thank you, obviously, for sending me this gift. It's such a kind gesture of you. Of Reform at Galvatron on here, so nice of him. Let me know what you guys think of the figure. Again, I hope I've done him a bit of justice. I think the paint apps on him are fantastic, and I'm going to definitely be displaying him in this robot mode.